Good morning. Hacked and stolen. The personal information of some 12 million clients of a major mobile service provider is compromised. 3 have been arrested, including a duo of hackers. The Ice Queen has a king. Well, at least for now, Kim Yuna's agency confirms that the Queen on Ice has a king on ice, a hockey player on the national team roster. The cast from the Grammy and multiple Tony-winning jukebox musical, The Jersey Boys, joins us in the studio. And with the increasing fine dust warnings, Korea Today's food expert and chef Matthew Chung cooks up some cleansing dishes on Friday, March 7th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning and welcome to Korea Today on a Friday morning. I'm Kim In-jung alongside Young Kim and Ju. Did you see the snow yesterday?
Yes, we had quite possibly the last flurry, right?
Right, she missed it. Did you miss it too?
I actually missed it. I saw the tail end of it.
You guys are boring. But you can catch a glimpse of it now as we play the video. It was quite a sight. And definitely unexpected, but quite romantic.
Could be winter's way of saying goodbye.
But the temperature is going to get warmer tomorrow, so we'll just have to survive the cold weather just for today.
Right. The snow in March was definitely romantic, but there is nothing romantic about our top story this morning. Personal information of some 12 million users of KT, one of Korea's major information and communications companies, has been leaked. According to the Incheon Metropolitan Police Agency, 2 professional hackers are being held for further investigation, and the head of a telemarketing company indicted without detention for breaking into the website of KT Corporation. They sold off the private information of customers, including their names, national ID numbers, as well as their bank accounts and even their occupations. From February of last year, the 3 were able to withdraw personal information of 12 million clients. That's 75% of all KT users, while pocketing $10.8 million US. Police are investigating whether KT is also at fault in managing the data, as the company had also seen a security breach of nearly 9 million clients in 2012.
And no, says Pyongyang to Seoul's proposal for talks on how to fundamentally resolve the issues of families separated by the Korean War. The response comes one day after South Korea proposed Red Cross working level talks for next Wednesday at the truce village of Panmunjom. Seoul's Unification Ministry expressed its regrets and called on Pyongyang to reconsider.
The issue of separated families is a task to be resolved between the 2 Koreas before anything else, without being tied to any other issues.
North Korea said in a statement that the proper atmosphere for talks have not been established, but did leave a crack in the door open, saying important humanitarian issues like regular reunions should not be dealt with by Red Cross officials. Analysts say Pyongyang may be looking to meet for high-level talks on a number of matters, including reunions and the resumption of Mount Kumgang tours in North Korea, but that it's unlikely much will happen until Seoul and Washington conclude their joint military drills.
And the rate of Korean married couples going their separate ways has jumped significantly in the 2000s compared to the 1950s. According to the Korea Legal Aid Center for Family Relations, the rate of divorces has increased 13-fold when comparing numbers from the first decade of the 21st century to that of the 1950s. The number of husbands and wives calling it quits peaked after the 1997 Asian financial crisis, commonly referred to as the IMF crisis in Korea. The divorce rate reached an all-time high in 2003 when more than 3 out of 1,000 people within the marriageable age bracket parted ways. The report also showed that Korea has the highest divorce rate in Asia, having outpaced Japan since 1996.
The U.S. State Department recently released its annual country reports on human rights practices for 2013, and one of the primary human rights issues of concern noted for Korea was the government's interpretation of a law created more than 60 years ago. And bringing it back into the spotlight is a record-breaking movie and 2 court cases from the past and present.
A story set in the 1980s where a group of people find themselves detained, tortured and sentenced to prison, all in the name of national security. The box office mega hit The Attorney is based on a true story, and one that brings back disturbing memories for Ko Ho-sok, who experienced it firsthand. He's now a middle school English teacher but was once handed down a 6-year sentence for breaching the national security law. The law represents a long-standing ideological battle between the two Koreas and deems any activities that praise or encourage enemy forces, namely North Korea, illegal. But Ko believes it was a measure used by the authoritarian leadership with no concrete grounds for prosecution.
It's based on the assumption that you aim to benefit communist and anti-state groups. But unless it's a specific charge for espionage, they prosecute you for the thoughts in your head. How can you ever know for sure what someone's thinking?
Ko was released under a special pardon 2 years into his jail term, but it left him with a scarred reputation and watchful minders.
They would tell landlords that I was sentenced for violating the national security law, that I'm a commie and dangerous. So the landlords would get scared, and since they can rent out the place to someone else, I would get kicked out.
Earlier this year, Ko and 5 others who were sentenced together in the same case were acquitted in a retrial, overturning the guilty sentence from more than 3 decades ago. Prosecutors have since appealed the case. The national security law may seem irrelevant in a world where the Cold War has long come to an end. But last year in Korea, although not great in numbers, there was a 20% increase in those arrested. Not only that, a recent court case sent shockwaves across the country. A left-leaning lawmaker received a 12-year sentence for plotting an armed rebellion. He was also found guilty for breaching the national security law on possession of anti-state documents. It's because of cases like this that supporters say without the security law, communism and pro-North Korean sentiments will prevail.
The South Korean public has nuclear threats sitting on top of its head. We need to root out any parties considered followers of North Korea, and then think about giving people full political, social, and cultural freedom. We can't give freedom to those who are trying to destroy our freedom.
It's a sentiment shared especially among those who've experienced the Korean War. But others argue South Korea has reached a level of maturity in terms of political ideologies.
If you're talking about problematic or dangerous values, they should be openly discussed and verified. If not, it becomes more mystified, like there's actually something great behind it.
For Ko, who once lived under the shadow of the national security law, what's most important is getting people to re-examine the past, as he hopes to see a different future. Lee Ji-yeon for Korea Today.
Good Friday morning, and let's run through the front pages of your newspapers now. And many of the papers this morning are covering the suicide attempt of a key witness of an espionage case here in Korea. And we'll have a look at our first story on 조선일보. The headline reads, National Intelligence Service knew the documents were forged in an espionage case. And the questions have been mounting over the case of Yoo Sung, the 34-year-old former Seoul government official who was indicted last year for allegedly using his post to pass on the personal information of some 200 defectors to Pyongyang. And a key witness attempted suicide on Wednesday this week, sustaining a life-threatening wound. He now remains in fairly stable condition after emergency surgery just yesterday. And the witness, a 61-year-old ethnic Korean with Chinese nationality, identified only by his surname Kim, is suspected of obtaining the fake evidence, including documents purporting to be the defectors' immigration records, and also handing it over to the state intelligence agency. So this has raised a political storm, certainly here in the country. And if we look at another story covering the same topic here on Gyeongyang Shinmun, the headline reads, "Man involved in the espionage case against the former civil servant attempts suicide." And Kim was found by police officers at around 6 p.m. on Wednesday at a motel in Seoul's southwestern Yeongdeungpo district. And Kim, who had undergone questioning by prosecutors until dawn on Wednesday, sent a mobile text message to the investigators saying that he would take his own life, and a suicide note was later discovered at the motel. So we'll have to keep an eye on how this story unfolds. And now let's go over onto 중앙일보 for a look at a different story. This here, the headline reads, "Where Abe said contaminated water was contained, radiation detector goes off, beep, beep, beep." And so it has been already 3 years since the Fukushima nuclear disaster took place. And for the first time for Korean media, in fact, a group of reporters from 중앙일보 and JTBC, they went over to Japan to take a closer look at the state of contamination in the waters not far off from the site of the accident. And they were actually able to reach a point only about 100 meters away from the site. And to their surprise, they found the waters fearfully contaminated. A reporter is standing with his special mask off for this picture, and the radiation detector that he's holding, I don't know if you can see, but it's reached up to 110 times higher than the normal rate of radiation. So the situation is indeed quite serious. And now coming back to Korea here on 동아일보, let's have a look at this top story. The headline reads, "Throwing aside bills for livelihood of people while emphasizing slogans only." The paper is saying that as the June 4th regional elections are coming up pretty soon, government officials are busy out and about instead of doing their jobs and caring about the livelihoods of the public. It's difficult even to open up the regular session of the National Assembly, in fact. And this picture here, you can see that it's an interesting picture. It shows the elementary school students campaigning for their school president elections. So the picture title says, "Are the regional elections perhaps setting the wrong example to children?" It's a question for all of us to think about. And now let's finally go on to our Economic Daily on Mail Business newspaper here. The title reads, "Materials industry at danger of being eaten up by China." The Chinese materials industry is gaining more and more strength and proving the power of its aggressive marketing strategy. And as a result, the Korean materials industry is showing a downward trend, as you can see here in this graph. And the paper goes on to say that Korea has to focus more on developing higher valued materials. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for Friday. And coming up are the stock numbers from Thursday.
Time now to get a check on the weather. We are expecting the peak of Gosemchuy today. Maybe there's going to be another bout of snow that you can hopefully catch this time around.
Well, that's probably the last one. But as for temperatures around Korea, we will be starting out in the negatives. If you're walking out to the streets at the capital, you'll be greeted by temperatures as low as -5. And as far as the days goes, our high should creep up to about 5 to 8 degrees Celsius for the most part of Korea. Clear skies and clean air forecast as well. Now look forward to the weekend on Saturday. We're going to see similar conditions and just a tad bit warmer with some snow forecast on Sunday. And that might be the last snow that we might see this winter.
And fast-moving developments on the Ukraine crisis. Let's find out the details with Eunice Kim joining us from the news center. Good morning, Eunice. Now, the latest is that the Crimea Parliament has voted to leave Ukraine to join the Russian Federation. This is major.
That's right. That's what the pro-Russia Parliament voted on Thursday, adding that they will take the change to the people in just over a week, about 10 days, in a referendum on March 16th. Now, Crimea, of course, is an autonomous region, though it is still it's independent only to a certain extent. Now, Ukrainian Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk said the so-called referendum has no legal grounds, iterating that Crimea will stay in Ukraine.
And the international community was quick to respond to this.
That's right, and much of it focuses on applying diplomatic and economic pressure on Russia. Just a few hours ago, U.S. President Barack Obama appeared before reporters in an unscheduled briefing to announce that he had signed an executive order approving economic sanctions and travel restrictions on officials responsible for Crimea's lurch toward breakoff. And moments after that, we heard from U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, who's in Rome, still engaged in dialogue with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov, as well as other foreign ministers, echoing the president's sentiments there. And over in Brussels, EU leaders following an emergency summit showed a united front, announcing that they are ready to suspend visa-free talks with Russia and boycott the G8 meeting in Sochi scheduled for later this year.
So a whirlwind of developments there. And we have some figures out of the U.S. now on the job front.
That's right. The number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits for the first time recorded a 3-month low last week. This according to the U.S. Labor Department, which said the number of claims fell to their lowest level since November of last year to a seasonally adjusted 323,000. Now, analysts are saying that the figures reflect a return to a more normal level, consistent with healthy labor market conditions. Meanwhile, a government report on employment will be released on Friday local time, which is expected to show the impact the severe cold weather had on jobs growth.
We'll certainly keep our eyes peeled for that story, those reports. Now, there is an interesting survey from the OECD that we're following this morning about men helping out around the house. I'm all ears on this one.
That's right. The OECD has released a survey which examined how much, quote, unpaid work women and men in the 34 member nations pitched in around the house, and comparing statistics related to the number of minutes men and women contributed to doing housework. The report concluded that working women were slowly closing the gap, though there is still a huge gender gap in unpaid work. It also found that Norwegian men clocked in the most time contributing to household chores, while the men who contributed the least came from the country of Japan. And this report did come ahead of International Women's Day, which is tomorrow.
Something to take note of for all the single ladies out there. Thank you, Eunice.
You bet.
And still ahead on Korea Today, we'll bring you the hottest news from this week's K-entertainment scene later on in the show, and check out some of the latest new faces that are stirring up a storm already on the K-pop scene. What sets them apart? Denny Hong will tell us all about it. Stay tuned.
Over 17 million tickets sold worldwide and counting. Winner of a Grammy and multiple Tony Awards. The hit musical about Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons rise to the top.
The show has been showing in Korea since January, and the fans have been mesmerized by this particular jukebox musical. And we have the four main casts of the Jersey Boys in the studio with us. Good morning, guys. You guys are by far the best looking guests we've had so far. Please introduce yourselves to our viewers and your roles in this musical. We'll start with you.
Sure. My name is Frank Galasso, and I play Frankie Valli in Jersey Boys.
Okay.
My name is Daniel Bass, and I play Tommy DeVita in Jersey Boys.
I'm Kenneth Mayer, and I play Bob Gaudio.
And I'm Emmanuel Castus, and I play Nick Massey, and you're by far the best-looking hosts we've had.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you look like you're a member of the Jersey Girls over here.
Leaning towards them,
just for the occasion.
Well, after making a debut in Asia, in Singapore in 2012, you have finally come to Korea. What kind of response have you been getting from the Korean audience?
It's been pretty overwhelming.
Pretty good,
yeah. I mean, It's great because they're reading a lot of it through the teleprompter, but you can see they really enjoy it, and at the end of the show, we have a little moment with them, and they get up on their feet and they're cheering, and they really enjoy it.
Subtitles?
There are subtitles, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And every now and then you get the occasional present, you get a cake backstage and a fan brings you. So some of them really kind of get into it and love us, which is really cool.
I got a massive wedding cake. It looked like a wedding cake. It was two-tiered with flowers all over it. Like I said, it looked like a wedding cake, so it was amazing, but it kind of made me feel a little nervous at the same time.
I think we had a press release once where there was a person who came to see us who'd seen the show 7 times.
7 times.
Wow.
Loyal following there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all of you have been in various musicals in the past now. Jersey Boys, what is different about Jersey Boys? What's that special oomph about Jersey Boys?
And maybe tell us about the plot for those of our viewers who are not familiar with the story.
Sure.
Well, a lot of the musicals you see are kind of driven, sort of the narrative is driven with the music at the same time. In other words, a character feels an emotion, they break out into song type thing, whereas the music drives the narrative in the sense that this is the story of a rock band, one of the most famous rock bands in America, and the music is part of their story. So the music drives their story in the sense it was their hits that you're seeing on stage. And you're following their life story as a rock band. More than the music being part of the narrative, if you know what I mean, like telling the story.
Okay, well, I'm catching an accent over here. Now, Frank, I know you're from New York, right?
I am, yes.
And the rest of you are from South Africa, right? Now, this is the Jersey Boys. So how is it, is there any challenges taking on the Jersey accent or any of that?
It is challenging, yeah. It feels almost like speaking in another language while you're trying to say these lines with honesty and conviction. So it has been a constant challenge. But we had a lot of guidance with the dialect coach, Stephen Gabus, and we've had a lot of popular sort of culture around us to watch. They told us to watch Sopranos and shows like that to get in.
Well, I'm sure Frank is of certain assistance there too.
Right?
Well, Frank
teaches you how to say coffee, maybe?
Coffee, yeah, that's right.
Perfect, yeah. Yes, he is of assistance.
I mean, let's get a sample of how this dialect coach has been working out. I mean, can you guys give us a little line there?
I talk like this on the show.
Now, what are some of your favorite parts of the Jersey Boys? Just personally, your favorite parts?
I would say one of my favorite scenes in the show is when Bob Gaudio makes his first appearance and he has to audition for the band, and he sings Cry For Me, and one by one each of the 4 or the 3 seasons join him, and it's the first time, like 30 minutes into the show, that you hear the 4 of them sing together for the first time. So it's one of those goosebump moments. It's an amazing moment.
I got goosebumps just hearing that.
It's a great song as well, so it's really a cool moment, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, is there like one moment where all 4 of you are just can agree on that this is the highlight and this is the peak of our show here?
Well, I think you're going to get a little taste of that later. There's a segment of the show that we call the Big 3, where there's 3 of their biggest hits that they've ever had, one right after the other.
Oh, so it's like a medley.
And it's the 4 of us. It's a medley, and the 4 of us doing these songs together.
All right, we'll look forward to that. But I know you guys have been busy, but have you had a chance to check out the musical scene here in Korea?
I haven't had much of a chance, really. We're generally performing when everybody else is performing.
It's tough.
So yeah, our schedules are...
Yeah, some other time you can come back and check out that.
I have to make a social trip.
Right.
And that was the Jersey Boys right here in our studio, and you're not going to go anywhere. You do have a special show lined up for us, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, sounds great. Thank you for this interview. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, Jersey Boys.
Yeah.
What was that?
In today's news sum up, Korean figure skating queen Kim Yuna's on-rink romance was the most popular search word of yesterday.
Right. They make such a cute couple, don't
yes,
you
think?
they do.
For
more on this story and others, we'll go to Kwon Nina standing by at the digital room. Good morning. Tell us all about this A-list couple.
Good morning to you both. You know, I kind of feel like I'm stealing a big sports news from our sports guru SJ, but I suppose this has more to do with romance and sports, so here we have it. As of yesterday, Kim Yuna's agency has confirmed that yes, she is in fact in a relationship with the superstar in the hockey region, Kim Won-jung. Let's take a look at yesterday's search result at 2 p.m. It's at number 1. Status confirmed, Kim Yuna is in fact in a relationship. When paparazzi shots taken by local entertainment news website Dispatch were revealed online yesterday morning, the pictures spread like wildfire, leaving very little room from Kim Yuna's managing agency to deny the relationship. It wasn't too long before her management agency, All That Sports, confirmed through a press release that they are in a relationship. Aw, look at them holding hands. All right, so who is this lucky guy? Kim Won-jung is a hockey player for the national team and a fellow alumnus of Korea University. He is currently serving his mandatory military service in the Korea Armed Forces Athletic Corps on a relatively new hockey team created for the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics. He is to be discharged this September. One of his actor friends, Yugon, has said in an interview that Kim Won-jung is a respectable, considerate man, even outside of a romantic relationship. All right, we'll have to take his word for it because as of now, Kim Won-jung is not available for an interview. He has a big match coming out tomorrow for the 2013-2014 Asia League Ice Hockey Playoffs. Now, the Dispatch reporter responsible for breaking the news yesterday appeared on many different news outlets and said Kim Yuna's acquaintance approached her around last July and told her about the relationship. Ever since then, Dispatch has been following up on this story, and boom, here is the big story that everyone is raving about. At 5 p.m., this remained one of the most popular topics. Yes, status confirmed, Kim Yuna is in a relationship. Can we all say, aww? All right. On to our next time frame at 8 o'clock, we had National Election Commission statement as the most popular topic. And the biggest reason is here. This is why the main opposition Democratic Party said Thursday it will file charges against a mayor hopeful for Incheon Yoo Jung-bok from the ruling party for stating that President Park Geun-hye expressed her support for his bid. The Democratic Party has asked the National Election Commission to look into this, citing a possible violation of election laws. Well, the commission has responded that there were in fact no violations of the election laws, mostly because President Park's remark was made in private and not intentionally to the public. The statement can be seen as just a means of cordial expression. Yoo Jung-bok, a three-term lawmaker of the ruling Saenuri Party, is known to have close ties to Park. When he quoted her as wishing him success in his endeavor, the Democratic Party immediately accused the former minister of using Park's remarks for pre-electioneering, which apparently is a big no-no when it comes to the election laws. That's all I have for today. I'll see you back on News Sum Up next week.
Well, with Kwon Nina taking the biggest piece of news as to date, what are we going to talk about? Well, the 2014 KBO Spring Training Games start this weekend. And to give us the details on the games, we have SJ Lee joining us in the studio. Good morning, SJ.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
You probably wanted to talk about Kim Yuna.
I'll pass the news. I don't want to cry again, once again. But of course, it's going to be good news for all the baseball fans out there. But of course, fans wouldn't be too interested in these spring training games normally. But actually, this season, there are some changes here and there, some additional players, so that's the reason why there's going to be more fans showing up to these spring training games. Now, the reason for that is, there are so many free agent signings during the off season, and many of the top players in the league have gone to other teams. Now, this, of course, includes the Hanwha Eagles, who splashed the most cash this offseason by signing guys like Lee Yong-gyu and Chung Gun-woo, or could even be the new improved NC Dinosaurs going into the second year this season. So with all these anticipation, you can bet that there's definitely going to be a lot of people coming out to the ballparks this season.
That's right. So are tickets hard to come by? I know for the regular season, it was very tough.
Right. I mean, you know, when it comes to the regular season games, obviously it's going to be very difficult to buy the tickets, especially if you're trying to go to the LG Twins or the Doosan Bears games in Seoul at Chamsil. But, you know, like I said, there aren't going to be that many people going out to these spring training games. But if you do want to come out, and there are going to be more people coming out this year, there's some good news. And that good news is actually spring training games are free. So for all the people out there, this is definitely good news. All you have to do is actually get there a bit early and stand in line and just basically go in there. Now, a lot of the time you'll see some empty seats all the way in the front, so you'll be able to get some great seating. And these are definitely seats you normally wouldn't be able to get in the regular season. Now, sure, you won't be seeing all the stars play full 9 innings, but still a great chance, I think, to check out a great baseball game for free.
And SJ, the regular season starts at the end of this month, but players won't have much time to rest.
You know, what's interesting is, you know, in any, I guess, country, being a professional athlete is pretty difficult. But especially here in Korea for professional baseball players, it's especially more difficult, I think, because there's not much time to rest. In fact, teams like the Hanwha Eagles and the Kia Tigers, who had a poor season last season, about a few weeks after their season was officially over, they actually went into their winter training right away. So this is November, shortly after the season ended. And actually, all the other teams actually go into winter training sometime around mid-December. They go to I guess warmer areas like Arizona back in the States sometime around January, and then they go to Japan and they do some training there. Of course, they just came back, some of these players, earlier this week. And then shortly after that, this weekend, they start their spring training game. So really, all these players basically get a couple of, I guess, weeks, I would say, with their family or friends, just taking their time off. So you're seeing a lot of these players basically play baseball all throughout the season. And of course, for all the fans out there that do want to check out the games this weekend, it is a little bit cold, as you guys mentioned, it's Gosem Shui, but it will start a little bit early. 1 p.m. will be the start time when it's, I guess, the warmest, right? Yeah. So if you guys do want to check it out, the Doosan Bears will be playing against the Nexen Heroes in Seoul, in Mokdo. The Kia Tigers will be taking on these Samsung Lions in the Battle of the Big Cats, right? And the Lotte Giants and the NC Dinos, the regional rivals there, they're going to be facing off, and the SK Wyverns and the the Hanwha Eagles will be facing off as well.
Okay. All right. So how about a game on Saturday, or is 5 days a week enough of us being together?
Hey, I'm going to check it out. If you guys want to go, like I said, the entrance is free, so everyone could go there for free.
Take me with you.
All right.
Thank you, SJ.
Thank you very much. And still ahead on Korea Today. Now, we've been seeing an increasing number of fine dust pollution. And today, Matthew Chung is going to join us today with a couple of dishes that's going to help you clear that throat, right? It's good for detox, and he'll stir up some pork and garlic dishes in the studio. And that's what we're waiting for, some food.
And it's time now to check out some of the hottest entertainment news that's making headlines here in Korea, from concerts to movies. Let's first get a quick rundown on this week's top stories.
The first story this week is Girls' Generation and their much-anticipated comeback. As of yesterday, they're officially back on the K-pop scene, and they've already made a splash, ranking #1 on Korea's top 40 celebrities for 2014. Next up is another girl group bringing out their new album, and it's To Anyone. The US Billboard has put a lot of spotlight on the new album, giving it a lot of praise. International Women's Day is celebrated on March 8th, and in China, many Hallyu stars will be there for their female fans. Rain will be on Hunan TV's Happy Camp as their solo guest. Lee Seung-gi will hold his first get-together with his fans this year in Beijing. Lee Min-ho will attend an event for China's online market Taobao, which he's the model for. And Kim Soo-hyun will appear on China's famous variety show called Super Brain. Next up is news about the film industry. A lot of Korean stars have landed roles in overseas movies. Rain has been cast for the lead role in a Chinese movie called Hongan Roshu. Also, actress Soo-hyun has been cast as a supporting actress for Avengers Age of Ultron. Lastly, Park Hae-jin has been offered a role on a popular Chinese drama. There's a great opportunity to go see SHINee, and it's at their concert called SHINee World 3, which will be held tomorrow and the day after at the Olympic Park in Seoul.
And let's welcome Denny Hong to the studio. Good morning, Denny.
Good morning.
Now, it seems like the news was pretty much dominated by a lot of the top K-pop stars who've established themselves in the past. But today, your report, you have something extra on some of the up-and-coming guys.
We do. Now, already this year, we've had a lot of fierce competition among girl groups. And now the new boom is supposed to be the hip-hop groups. The hip-hop idol groups are kind of making their splash right now. So we're going to take a look at who is behind the scenes of that movement, as well as a new girl group that maybe we should keep our eyes on. A storm of powerful groups are ready to take on the K-pop scene in 2014. We look at some up-and-coming idol groups armed with their charismatic looks and unrivaled talent.
Ooh, BTS.
The hip-hop group BTS, where all members take part in writing the songs and lyrics, is quickly surfacing as one of the most eye-catching groups this year.
The 방탄소년단.
That's right.
BTS.
Last year, not only did they sweep up 4 awards as new singers, they snatched up first place on a K-pop show only 8 months after debuting, becoming one of the most anticipated new idol groups on the scene. Their solid musical talent, which can be hard to find from a group just coming out, shows off what skill sets they come with, but it's also the result of 3 years of hard training. And we caught up with them during their rehearsal for Arirang TV's Simply K-pop.
저희가 지금 활동하고 있는 상남자와 스쿨러브 어페어라는 앨범의 활동으로 아마 3월까지 정말 바쁘게 보낼 것 같고요. 믿고 듣는 정말 팀이 되는 게 저희의 목표예요. 그 정도까지 자리에 올라가서 사람들이 방탄소년단을 했을 때 굉장히 기대가 된다, 꼭 들어가야 된다, 봐야 된다 하는 그런 팀이 됐으면 좋겠습니다.
GOT7 includes members from Thailand, the US, Hong Kong, and Korea. It has been less than 2 months since they debuted, but behind that was also a 3-year period of training. With their martial arts tricking, which combines elements of dance and martial arts, the group sets itself apart with its breathtaking performances. The reality show Win was a competition to select one group that would debut through one of Korea's 3 major agencies, YG Entertainment. The last surviving team was given the name Winner along with their grand debut.
I personally like this group.
Let's see what they thought.
The group, already having shared candid scenes on air with their training, boasts a strong following of fans already. The group has stood on stage with Big Bang at a concert in Japan, seen as a sign of recognition for their great potential. The group Winner may not have debuted yet, but it's receiving a lot of attention.
They can take on anything from bad girl to cute, and they have strong vocals in the group who have already proven themselves through a reality singing competition.
It's not just their eye-catching performances. Ladies Code has been showing off funky and upbeat grooves in their band music with a distinct style of their own.
They're cute.
The girl group grabbed the Best Newcomer award 1 year after debuting and is gaining momentum in the heated competition between sexy girl groups.
팬들이 지금보다 훨씬 더 많이 생겨서 저희를 정말 많은 분들이 사랑해 주시고 좋아해 주셨으면 좋겠어요.
네, 그리고 해외도 가고 싶어요. 저희가 아직까지 한 번도 한국을 떠나본 적이 없어서 너무 가고 싶어요.
With their own style and flair, these groups are expected to be at the center of attention this year.
So 방탄소년단 BTS and Ladies Code, they both won the Newcomers Award, I believe, the much coveted award. And tell us more about this Ladies Code. I'm more interested in this girl group.
Yeah, it's a pretty cute dance.
Why? I thought you'd be more interested in BTS, right?
For some odd reason.
When it comes to Ladies Code, two of the members actually, they were on singing competition programs before, and so they have been tested as singers, and so they are familiar with this competition level, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry, as well as they're going to hold a mini concert actually on Monday. It's going to be live streamed to over 190 countries on Ustream, and so a lot of people can find that out themselves.
They haven't been abroad, but they will certainly get that global audience there with that YouTube channel.
Yes,
Exactly.
and Denny, I'm really curious about what 방탄소년단 means, BTS.
Me too.
It's a very unique name.
Well, when it comes to Bangtan, that means bulletproof, right? And so the idea is that despite all the opposition and the hardships that might come their way, they are going to be bulletproof and keep on pursuing their dreams and their goals. Now, when it came to their popularity, even though they are solely more of a hip-hop group, they actually had a concert in Thailand last year. They were invited for the very first time for them, and they had 8,000 people show up, and so that was a big surprise for them. And then also the following month in December, they had 3 concerts in Osaka and Tokyo, which also were all sold out. So they're definitely the group to look out for. If you watched the dance moves that they had, it was very in sync, it was very tightly done. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they come out with in this year.
Well, they're definitely not bulletproof to popularity, so we'll be looking forward to hearing more about them.
Thank you, Denny, for this.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right, we have your top 5 songs for the week coming right up, and then we'll be joined by Matthew Chung. All right, so plate and burner. Where's the food? Matthew Chung joins us for that. Good morning.
How's it going? So yeah, get excited because today we're going to be cooking some food here in the studio. And what we're going to be doing is food to beat the dust. And and we have some dishes out there that really can sort of strengthen the immune system, help detoxify.
That's right. We have the roasted garlic right there. That's already on hand. And then we have a few other ingredients that you're going to put together. So this is supposed to kind of cleanse our bodies a little bit, maybe detox and stuff. So let's get to it.
Absolutely. So while I get this prepared, we've prepared some other recipes for you. So why don't we take a look? So right now, our fine country, it's been overtaken by these fine dust particles in the air. And while you can see people out in the streets wearing masks to protect themselves, really, protection begins at the dinner table. There are a ton of foods you can eat that protect you from the elements. First off, there's ginger, and the benefits boost once you pair it with toraji. This is the bellflower root. When these two go together and you toss in, say, a little bit of Korean pear, it's one of the best sort of cold remedies out there. And now we have myeok. What's inside is alginic acid, and that's really going to help keep you clean. And not only that, it helps lower cholesterol as well, and it's delicious. But we're going to focus on 2 ingredients today, pork and garlic. So we're going to start off like this. What is great about pork is that it's full of zinc, and that zinc is what's going to help protect you. So we're just going to cut off these ends and just So now we're gonna season up our pork. And first is doenjang. It's Korean bean paste that's been fermented. Next is a little honey, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit of cooking wine. Then using our hands, nothing else will do, give this all a nice coat. And we're just gonna let this rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. Pan's up to heat. The reason why I'm keeping this moving around is because this isn't a non-stick pan. Now, pork tenderloin, it's super lean, so you want to treat it almost like it's a big chicken breast, essentially. And now I'm going to add the garlic. And you can tell when the pork is done, because when you feel it, this should feel like this. So the pork is done, so what we're going to do is we're just going to let it rest on our cutting board for a few minutes, because if we cut into this right now, all of those lovely juices are just going to spill right out. See this color? This is exactly what we're looking for, just a touch of pink in the middle. So this is what happens when you team up pork and garlic. But what if you wanted to make garlic the star? Well, just in luck, we have a fantastic recipe for roasted garlic ready to go. So we have our garlic here. We're just gonna cut off the top. So we're just gonna put these in our cast iron pan. Then we're gonna take some rosemary. And this is gonna release those oils and just make it all the more fragrant. Give it a good, healthy dose of olive oil. Salt, just gonna season with a little salt and pepper. So we have this right now, and we're just gonna toss it in our oven. It's gonna be a 350-degree oven. We're gonna cook it for about 20 minutes, or until it's just golden brown and delicious at the top. Garlic, it's just an all-around superfood. Even the ancient Greeks, they saw it as a performance-enhancing food, and there's really not much that garlic can't do. So take all the precautions you can against the elements, and have some tasty food while you're at it.
So you've made it some roasted pork tenderloin, and I'm going to give it a go at home. I'm going to try this at home. It looked pretty easy, to be honest.
Please do. It's a very simple recipe. It's all about keeping those flavors nice and simple. And what you saw in terms of just those really simple ingredients, that's really all that goes in there.
You know, Matthew, when yellow dust comes in from China, we usually eat samgyeopsal or pork belly. But is that pork also good for fine dust?
So the thing about pork is that it's a great detoxifying ingredient because it contains zinc in there, and that zinc is what's going to help protect you from the elements. Now, the other thing about pork as well is that it's delicious. So that's also another reason why it's good.
It is good, right? And all the detoxifying elements of garlic as well. If it just didn't smell as much, you know, after you eat it, right? But it's really good for you. We have some of the great foods. Oh, this is really heavy. I'm not going to try lifting that, but we have ginger and we have the garlic as well as broccoli. And here it is, toraji. This is also the secret food. All right, so what are we going to be cooking today?
So today we're making maner matang. Now, matang, it's usually a glazed, it's normally a sweet potato or some sort of starch, but this recipe, we're going to use roasted garlic.
Roasted garlic.
Roasted garlic. Now take a look at this and look at the color on this guy.
Yes, yes. So what did you do? You just roasted it for a few minutes?
Exactly. Roasted for a few minutes in a pan with a little bit of oil and a little bit of salt. And what we're going to do is I have a solution, a little bit of water and corn syrup in this pan right here, and we're just going to toss it all together. And so what we're going to get is this nice, sweet, salty thing going on. And the great thing about roasted garlic too is that it's already pretty naturally sweet. And what we're doing is we're adding texture and a little bit of extra flavor when we're cooking it down like this.
So we're expecting it to become a bit caramelized, right?
We're actually going to take it right before the caramelized stage. It's what's known as the hard crack stage. You know, things like hard candies, lollipops, and the like. That's the stage that we're looking for. And actually, if you could hand me that wooden spatula.
All right. So you suggest just wooden over a metal spoon?
When you're working the garlic, when it's in the pan like this, you want to be gentle because roasting it off beforehand gets it nice and soft.
And it also saves the pan. It doesn't wreck it.
Scratch it,
right? Exactly. You know something about cooking.
Frying pans are pretty expensive.
Right.
And when my daughter's working on that with that metal spoon, I'm like, please don't do that.
Right. It hurts you inside.
It really does. I mean, being a professional chef, I look at my utensils, my pans, all my tools. They're like my family, and you treat your family right.
No scratch on them.
All right, we're almost done right here. So if you take a look at this pan right now.
Smells great.
Yeah, and you can just see how that glaze has gotten nice and thick. And the garlic has just gotten a nice little sheen on there. And so we're gonna pull this off the pan right now. So if you can hand me that plate, actually.
All right.
Yeah, just hold it right there. We're gonna plate up. Here we go.
So this is, once again, right before it starts caramelizing.
So we're just gonna let it hit the plate right now. You gotta love the way that smells too.
Yeah, it smells great. Look at that.
Can't wait.
All right, let's give it a couple of more. I mean, I always feel like I should stop, and then I feel like, you know what, we're gonna probably want to have a couple more of these. And then we're just gonna finish it off with some black sesame seed.
And that's it. It's just so simple.
That's right. So something like this, it makes for a great banchan, which are those traditional side accompaniments that you have with Korean meals. Or it can be eaten as on its own as a snack. It goes great with a drink or two as well.
Okay, would you guys please wrap it up and bring it over here, please,
That's
so
what
we
we'll
can
do.
try
Bring
it.
the utensils?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's go.
That's right. Okay, so bring it on because the Jersey boys are also waiting for
All
us.
right.
Okay. Right.
Wow. Here's the utensils.
How about we enjoy this while we watch the Jersey boys performance? How about that?
Well,
Does that sound like a plan?
We'll have some garlic over the performance.
All right.
All right, sounds
They're
great.
all ready to perform. Take it away, guys. We're ready.
Sherry, Sherry baby, Sherry, Sherry baby, Sherry, Sherry baby, Sherry baby,
Sherry, can you come out tonight?
come out tonight.
Sherry baby,
Sherry baby,
Sherry, can you come out tonight?
why don't you come on? Come on, come on, come on.
We'll dance the night away. I'm gonna make you mine. You better ask your mama.
Sherry baby,
Tell her everything is alright.
why don't you come on? Come on, come on, come on.
Moving nice and easy. Girl, you make me lose my mind.
Big girls don't cry. Big girls don't cry. Big girls.
Don't cry.
All right, and that is the Jersey Boys, and we're going to sign off with that. Thank you, all of you, for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the performance.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you for
They don't
watching.
cry, my girl.
Say goodbye.
My oh my,
My girl didn't cry.
I wonder why. Silly girl.
Shame on you, your mama said.
Silly girl.
Shame on you, you're crying in bed.
Silly girl.
Shame on you, you told the lie.
Big girls do cry. Big girls,
Don't cry.
they don't cry.
Big girls don't cry.
That's just an alibi. Big girls don't cry. Big girls don't cry.
Ooh, trying to cut me down to science, telling dirty lies to my friends. My old father said, give her up, don't bother. The world isn't coming to an end.
He said, walk like a man, talk like a man, walk like a man, my son. No woman's worth crawling on the earth.
So walk